All right, so at this stage, I've gotten a lot more down on my paper, and I've been using various sighting techniques along with my viewfinder to try to get more on here. I'm going to take my phone out of the harness for a little bit to show this to you in greater detail. Now, as you can see, that I've been sketching lightly. Again, I am drawing a little darker than I normally would simply because I need to make this dark enough so that you can see it on camera. So you shouldn't be drawing this darkly at this earliest stage. More like this, or really this, or really. This would be ideal. You really don't want to get darker than that at this early stage. So what I notice about this drawing is it's pretty close to the still life. However, there's a problem. Can you see what it is? My cube isn't going to fit entirely on my paper. Now, I've been using sighting techniques to draw this on here, mainly vertical and horizontal alignments and comparative measurement, which I'll talk about. Well, might as well talk about it right now. So, because we're going to use that, I've been using that to lay this out, but I'm also going to use it to correct the mistake. But basically, to start with the conclusion, this is drawn too big right now because the cube doesn't fit, and I wanted everything to be in this composition. So let me walk you through first a review of vertical and horizontal alignments. Last time I did it, my hand was shaky, so this time I'm going to put the phone back in the cradle, in this little convenient handy-dandy holder. So vertical and horizontal alignments, again, you hold out your pencil to see how things are lining up with each other. So for example, if we're drawing the candle statue holder. All right. So if we're drawing her, I can hold my pencil out as a perfectly vertical line and see that, if my arm could stay a little stiller, I could see that her bowl sticks out just a little further than her dress, but not by much. So on my drawing, I very, very lightly sketched in this vertical line to show that her bowl is sticking out a little bit further than her sleeve. And I was using that as a bit of a key because when I used my viewfinder, I noticed that the bowl ended up in that corner. If I line up the desk where I said I did. Now, unfortunately, the object turned blurry for you. But basically, the bowl ends up in the corner. Obviously, things are shaking more because I'm talking as I hold this stuff up. But when you're doing this yourself, you shouldn't have as much shaking, hopefully. So that's a vertical alignment check. We can also do horizontal alignment checks as I did before with the bottle, seeing that the top of the blue bottle kind of ends up right underneath her hand. But then I thought, okay, well, how do I know how far down her hand should be? So that's where comparative measurement comes in. I'm going to show you how to do comparative measurements. So comparative measurements, we have to take 2 measurements on the still life and 2 measurements on the drawing. We're going to pick one thing to compare it to something else. For example, again, that bowl, it's convenient because it's a relatively simple shape, and I know that I have it placed correctly on the page because it's going in the corner. Each still life is different, so you might not necessarily have a key that's that easy to use, but I'm sure everybody can find something in their still life that's a bit of an easier part to draw and an easier part to place. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use forced perspective. So that's, you see how I can make it look, for example, like I'm pinching her head? So that's forced perspective. So I'm going to hold my pencil out and I'm going to put the tip of my pencil against the left edge of her bowl, and I'm going to move my right thumb so that my right thumb aligns with the right edge of her bowl. You may need to use your other arm to steady the arm that you're holding out. All right, so something like that. I don't think I can get the camera to focus on my finger, but I hope you can tell what I'm doing. I can move my hand, but I'm not moving my thumb's position. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my pencil. Now it wants to focus. So I can put the top of the pencil, I can line it up with the center of her bowl and see that one bowl width makes me end up slightly above the bust of the statue. If I can try to get it to focus on her again. Like, you see how that measurement, it takes me down to about where the bust of the statue is. I know my hand keeps moving around, but I did this earlier without talking, so you're just going to have to trust me on that. So then I know that relationship. The width of the bowl is the same as the height from the top of the bowl down to slightly above her bust. So if I turn back to my drawing, I can do that same measurement on the drawing. So I'm putting the tip of the pencil on the left edge of the bowl, and I'm moving my thumb to the right edge of the bowl. And then I pick up my pencil without moving my thumb's position on it. And I set my pencil down. And hopefully you can see that my thumb is right under where the drawing of the statuette's bust is. So that tells me that this part is correct. I can keep doing that. I can keep going back and looking and seeing. Again, I'm going to take the measurement of the bowl. I'm putting the tip of the pencil against the left edge of the bowl. I'm sliding my thumb to the right edge of the bowl. I turn the pencil without moving my thumb, and now I can move down one more. Now this is where it's going to get really tricky because I'm talking and my hand's going to shake a lot, or rather move around a lot. I'm going to try to steady it with my other arm. So from the top of the bowl to where my thumb is takes us to below the statuette's bust. So now I can move down one again. I'm trying to kind of visually put the tip of the pencil where my thumb had been. And when I move down, I see that 2 bowl widths down takes me slightly underneath the top of the blue bowl, and it's actually lining up with the very top of the jug. So then I'm going to check that relationship on my drawing. I'm going to have to zoom out. So I get the measurement. You see that? Turn my pencil. I'm right below the bust, and I'm marking the position with my other finger here, and then I move the pencil down. Again, I haven't moved my thumb's position on the pencil. I move the pencil down, so this is 2 bowl widths high. All right? So for the sake of ease and example, I'm marking the position with the index finger of my left hand, and I can draw a line lightly. You would do this very lightly. A horizontal line. And I can see that I have my big jug positioned about where it should be, but my blue bottle is just a tiny bit short. So I'm going to add a little bit of height to the blue bottle. But you may remember that I said that everything was drawn too big. So even though this alignment now is correct and this part looks good, I still have the problem that my cube isn't going to fit. So what I'm going to do, and this is going to involve a lot of redrawing, and that's perfectly okay. Because I use this bowl as kind of like my key, but things aren't fitting properly, and if anything, they're getting even bigger. So that tells me that I need to draw the bowl smaller so that when I do comparative measurements, it does end up the right size. I'm going to stop this video here because I think YouTube won't let me go longer than 10 minutes. But I'll come back after I've shrunk the bowl.